You can hear me okay. We're fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone had a fantastic week. We are back here another Saturday. Do you believe it? The time goes so fast. These weeks just keep coming and going and going, But I'm glad you guys are all joining me here on this wonderful Saturday evening. I hope everyone had a fantastic day. And if you're just tuning in, my show last week is up on my Instagram at the Big Man's Report _live, and also my Facebook at Blake Roselle on my Facebook account as well. And also my YouTube channel at the Big Man Show _live. You can catch my channel. It's up and running. All my posts will go there as well. All my videos, weekly interviews, you can see on there as well. So make sure you tune in and you find my channel on YouTube. So this week, in the world of comedy, I know we all love comedy. And, you've been seeing it for years. You've been hearing, different comedians throughout time. And a lot of different things come to mind when you think of comedy, right? And I don't know a lot of people that do not like comedy, but I personally love comedy. And for this hour, we're going to talk comedy. And I have a very, very special guest on this evening. And we're going to talk about his show that he's going to have at the Hard Rock in Atlantic City coming next month in October. So we'll get into that a little bit later this hour. But without further ado, I want to introduce my very special guest for coming on the program this evening, Mr. Vic Dibitetto. How are you, Vic?
Great. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. I think, this is going to be a great show. I want my my listeners and everyone to be able to hear your story and how you got into what you're doing today. And I think it's going to be a fantastic show. So I really want to, again, thank you for coming on.
Thank you. And it's one hell of a story.
Well, let me just start off first by saying I'm a huge fan of what you do. Okay. And I discovered you on YouTube a few years back, and I started watching some of your videos, and I said to myself, man, this guy's hilarious. I said, because I come from an Italian family as well on my father's side. My mother's side's Irish and English, but I'm around the Italian side, just because the father and the cousins and my grandfather at the time. But you know what? And I was laughing, hysterical. I said, this guy is great. I said, I can relate to what he's saying. I can know he makes people laugh. And it's just something that I found, really amusing. And I just kept following you. And I said to myself, I want to go see this guy. I said, let me go on his website. I want to find out where he's touring and if he's, and I know you're from New Jersey, right, Vic? Correct me if I'm wrong.
I reside in New Jersey, but I'm from Brooklyn.
Right. So you're born in New York and then you moved to Jersey in your later years.
I born and raised in Brooklyn. I moved overseas to Staten Island, and now I'm in Jersey. That's usually how Italians migrate.
Right. So I knew, and I'm from South Jersey as well, as you know. So I'm down by Atlantic City area. So I said, there's definitely some shows that Vic's going to be probably in the area, or at least near where I'm at.
You got to come to the Hard Rock, October 14, 15.
Friday and Saturday, October 14th, 15th. Yes,
just
definitely.
talk to Russell. He'll get you comps.
Yeah, I would love to, and I appreciate the invite. And I would definitely look forward to that. So thank you. But when I discovered your page, and I said to myself, this guy is great. I said, I would love to go to a show, and meet you and be able to, laugh all night, have a good time. And my girlfriend at the time, we were a couple of years back. I remember you were at Marconi Plaza in South Philadelphia in 2019.
I was the Grand Marshal for the Columbus Day Parade.
I do remember seeing that. And I was not up there for the Columbus Day Parade Festival that year. But were you with the infamous Jerry Blavit?
Yeah, that's the old guy. Yeah, he rode in the car with me. I forgot he was like a legend in Philly. I never heard of the guy till I met him.
Yeah. So, long story short about Jerry, he was on Bandstand back in the 50s. He was a great dancer, and he's made a great career for himself throughout, all his years. And God bless him.
Hold on. I'll show you something.
Sure. Let me see, Vic. Wow, there it is. Look at that. The Geeter himself. That is such a cool picture.
South Philly is what Brooklyn used to be like when I
Yeah.
was growing up. Love South Philly.
And no, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. I mean, so going off before I get to that, going off of Jerry, he's been doing his thing for years. Friends with Sammy Davis Jr., Frank Sinatra, Don Rickles. He was his driver back in the day. And I'm sure you heard all these stories.
All the stories in the car. It was just, I was
Yeah.
enjoying that more than the parade, just listening to this guy's stories.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of a kind, and he's still going today. And I do have the pleasure to say,
he's like in his 80s. He's in his 80s. He's amazing.
Yeah, he'll be Vic. He'll be 82. I want to say next in July, actually.
God bless.
So he goes way back with my dad's family. He's South Philadelphia, born and raised. He's made an unbelievable career for himself as a disc jockey, all the oldies music, bandstand, Geeter Gold Radio. You've heard all the stories. So I actually work for him in another capacity at his club down in Memories of Margate, which is a town, if you're not familiar, it's about 5-10 minutes south of Atlantic City. So this is my 7th summer going with Jerry at his oldies club, and I just have to say, I thought it was funny that you were the grand marshal that year with him, and I said Vic's with Jerry. I said, no way, look at that, that's awesome. So
yeah, we were on the local news. It was just great. It was a great experience.
Yeah, he's a real good guy, and that's really cool that you got a chance to interact with him. And I'm sure he knows what you do, and I'm sure he was very fortunate enough to meet you as well in the comedy world. But going back to South Philadelphia, like you said, my father's family's from South Philadelphia, and they moved down here when he was real young. My grandfather, when he was just getting started in life. And I know that neighborhood feel, like you said, it's really, you can connect it to like Staten Island, the Bronx, the Queens, even though I've been up in New York a couple times. But the neighborhood itself, the true old school South Philly is just like New York. And that's why it was a great point you made.
Yeah, I shot a little movie called Turkey's Done with Sherry O'Terry. And she's from, I think, Upper Darby, something like that.
That's suburbs of Philadelphia outside.
And we filmed on a block. And in between scenes, people would sit. We were sitting on the stoop. Come here, come on, give you something to eat. Have a beer. It wasn't a movie set. We were filming on a street. It was like I said before, it brought back a lot of memories of growing up in Brooklyn.
Yeah, you can relate to that as well. Like you said, it has that feel, that family feel, that just being around family and everybody. Hey, come over, what are you doing? And it's nice. So when I saw that you were doing that in South Philly, I said, Vic probably feels like he's at home.
It was great. As a matter of fact, one scene after I was done, after we wrapped, I'm driving away, and we had a Cadillac was one of the cars in the scene, and it blew up. Really? And I'm thinking, why did it blow up? But it was a malfunction or something. I'm thinking a mob hit or something, but it was something, the engine seized or something, but it was just hilarious.
Right. It's too funny.
But Lou Galdo?
Yes, I do know Mr. Galdo. I have met him a couple times, and I know he knows Jerry real well.
Yeah, I play Galdo's a lot. He's a great guy. But I was supposed to be there, but the pandemic came along and threw a wrench in my whole schedule. So now things are finally slowly but surely coming back.
I know. And that's something we'll also get to this hour. I mean, the pandemic, it threw, like you said, especially for what you do as an entertainer, it couldn't have been easy that through these past couple of years. But it looks like we're starting to come out of this a little bit now, and we're almost back at some normalcy, if you would say. So I had the pleasure of meeting you at when you had your tent at the Marconi Plaza when you did the Columbus Day itself. I do remember later that winter, I want to say December of 2019, the same year, you may have been in Asbury Park, I want to say, or you were doing like a little comedy show where it was you bought a ticket and then you had dinner, and you also had, it was drinks and dinner, you paid for the ticket and then your show.
Well, sure, it wasn't
Asbury Park.
Sure, it wasn't in Point Pleasant, Uncle Vinny's?
I think that's probably where it was, somewhere up there in North Jersey.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact place of it, but it does sound, I think it was Point Pleasant.
It was on the shore.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I remember that's where I not only got to meet you after the show, but I was able to also listen to your stand-up, and I enjoyed some dinner, and everybody had some laughs, but it was a great night. And like, I just wanted, before we get into what I was, the interview, just want to say hats off to you for what you've accomplished and what you continue to do day in and day out, making people laugh.
Thank
And
you.
I'm fortunate
Thank
that I
you.
had the chance to meet you those times, and now have you on my program, on my show.
Thank you. That's nice of you. It never gets old when people tell me that. I'm doing this almost 40 years. I mean, what I'm doing, I'm not talking about the stand-up. What I'm doing with the videos alone, I mean, there are some comics doing it, but my content is so diverse. I'm doing it since 2009,
Wow, God
posting on
bless you.
the, I'm posting 2, 3 a day. I mean, it's just, it's gratifying when somebody tells me that. Thank you.
Yeah, no, of course, and all credit to you. I mean, you're real, and what you see is the consistency. You got to keep at it, right? And that's the only, I feel like that's the only thing that you really can drive you to keep going, is being consistent with it. You have a passion, you love doing it, you're not going to stop doing it,
Look, I may not be the richest, I may not be the funniest, but I don't think there's any comic that works harder than me. And I really, I was getting back to the old school. I was taught a hard work ethic from my father.
Right.
I used to drive a garbage truck in New York City, and I drove the truck to Dangerfields one day, and I told the manager, if I pick up your garbage, can you give me stage time? That's how I broke into Dangerfields. I mean, come on.
Wow.
Who does that?
Hey, I mean, you knew how to, you knew what you wanted. Let's just say that you
Right.
knew what you wanted. You said, listen, this is what I'm doing currently. I know where I want to be. I know what I want to do. I'm going to go after it and go
When
grab it.
you have a passion for something, I mean, here I am. See, I came along right after the Seinfelds and the Lenos and then it was me, Kevin James, Ray Romano. Those guys, they got the break. They're at the
Yeah.
right place at the right time. They're no better than me. I'm no better than them. But unfortunately, not unfortunately, fortunately, I should say, I put my family first.
Right.
I worked 2 jobs. I always had a job supplementing the income with the comedy. I couldn't pick up and go to LA and wait tables and wait for the break.
Right.
I would put my family first. And now I'm glad I did that,
Mhm.
because it kept me grounded. I think if I would have got success too early, who the hell knows? I would have been lying in the gutter somewhere on drugs. I don't know. I mean, there's a plan. I don't know. Everything happens for a reason.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I mean, again, you're taking care of your family, but you have this passion, you know what you want to do. So, and I think you work, and I could see, just from my end of how hard you do work at your craft, right? I mean, you constantly put videos out all day long, and we'll get to all that too, obviously, this hour on some of the
There's
stuff you do. But
different
go ahead.
levels of there's different levels of success. People go to me, how come you're not in the movies? How come you don't have a Netflix special? I'm selling out theaters. I have a beautiful house. I drive a Lexus. I got a wonderful wife. I have 2 beautiful kids. I'm not breaking my ass. I'm not picking up garbage anymore.
Right.
This is bad. There's different, Maniscalco, he's in the stratosphere.
Yeah.
I'm in the ozone layer. I'm happy. Anything extra, bring it on.
Yeah. And that's the way you put it. It seemed you have your family, you have everything in front of you, and you have your comedy, but that's what really means a lot to you. And you just kind of, from talking with you so far, it seems that it's where your head's at with all this. It's good to
Well, I'm
see.
61 years old. The
God
older
bless
you
you.
get, thank you. The older you get, the more you put things in perspective. I'm like 10 years ago, I would love to have a sitcom, but now I want to stay home with my wife and watch a movie and pet my cat. And you know what I'm saying? It's just,
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Right. Yeah. And on the flip side to that too, though, I mean, you make thousands and thousands, hundreds of thousands of people laugh. I mean, they love what you're doing, though, Vic.
You have the messages I get, 99% of my fans get it. I got the most loyal, like call them my true blue loyals.
Right.
The most common comment I get, Vic, you got me through the pandemic. You got me through my dark days. You got me through my depression.
Mm-hmm.
I talk about having a gay son. It's all positive. I get parents of gay kids coming up to me or messaging me. I just want to thank you. You really helped me with the situation. I get gay kids messaging me. Thank you
Right.
for speaking up for your son like that. You can't compare that to any sold out show or any standing ovation. It's I love what I do. I really do.
Yeah. And like you said, you're touching people's hearts along the way, and maybe at the time you don't even realize it until you get those messages, and people are grasping what you're doing, and it's wonderful.
And, then the flip side, look, everybody has haters. I think even Mother Teresa had haters. Haters don't bother me. I just don't understand them. If you don't like me, fine, just change the channel. It's amazing. This country, the social media has been a double-edged sword for me. I have over 1 billion views worldwide with all my videos. I have 2 million followers on Facebook. The social media really made my career, but now it's getting crazy, man. People, they get I could put a video that's got nothing to do with politics, and once I see the word Biden or Trump or Republican or Democrat, I block and delete. I can't deal with it. I'm just trying to bring some laughs to a world gone mad. This country needs to step back and take a deep breath, man. It's scary, but I'm going to keep doing what I'm going to do. We need to laugh now more than ever.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, especially with the last couple of years, what, we've went through as a country, as a world for that matter. I mean, this is what you're doing, what you're bringing to the table is you're making people smile, make people laugh. And like you said, you're going to have some people that are going to get offended. They're going to be sensitive and say, oh, well, why is he saying that? That he shouldn't be saying that. Well, and that brings me to another point. I mean, if you look at the evolution of comedy back in the day, the comedians made people laugh like they do nowadays. But the difference is back then you didn't, like you said, you didn't have all this. He said, she said, why did you say that? You can't say that.
Could you imagine George Carlin on Facebook? Could you imagine the Three Stooges on Facebook?
Not today, no.
Why are they so violent? Why is he hitting him with the saw? Oh my God, it's great. Now, comics are getting attacked on. Look at Chappelle and Chris Rock. But people go to me, I'm not worried because my fans are different. My fans are lovers. They're not fighters.
Right.
But then again, I'm Italian. Just let somebody try to attack me. I'm ready.
Yeah. They don't want to mess with the wrong one.
No. Never tell me to break a leg. I take that seriously. You know what it is? Like Billy Joel, excuse me, I'm sorry. Billy Joel said it perfectly. I know that it's me they've been coming to see to forget about life for a while. And that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah. That's real. That's so true. You put it plainly and perfectly. But before we get into like the comedy stand and what you currently do and your YouTube channel and your shows, I just want our viewers and our audience to understand a little bit about you. Now, we kind of mentioned it early on in the beginning of the program, but for our listeners, Vic, tell them where you grew up and, what was your family life like? What was it like being at home, especially being Italian American? I mean, family means a lot to you. And explain to our audience the significance of that and why that's so important.
Well, I grew up in Brooklyn, New York. I was born in 1961. My father was a garbage man. He supported a family of 5 on one salary, and he taught me a hard work ethic, and I was the typical Italian family. We weren't poor. We weren't rich. We were comfortable. We lived in the basement. We had 3 floors, but we lived in the basement. The middle floor was for show. Mm-hmm. That was for Thanksgiving, and that's when company came over. We had the picture of Jesus Christ shaking hands with Frank Sinatra, the typical Italian family. And then I started, when I started school, I was the class clown, like most comics. You ask them, they start off being the class clown. Fast forward, there was a comedy club called Pips in Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn. This is what at one time was the oldest comedy club in the country. I mean, Rodney started there, Joan Rivers, Andy Kaufman, Lenny Bruce performed there, Woody Allen.
Wow.
And a friend of mine said, Vic, they have an amateur night. Why don't you give it a shot? It was a Wednesday night. I went on stage. They booed the hell out of me. I sucked. I bombed. But I loved being on stage. The needle was hooked. And I kept going back week after week, till eventually I middled. Then eventually I headlined. The big thing then was to go into Long Island and do the Long Island clubs, or then go to the city in Manhattan, do the city clubs. Right. And I just kept at it. But I always, like I said to you, I always had 2 jobs. Because I couldn't, comedy didn't pay a lot.
Right.
Until you became a headliner. Headline is that where the money was. But I drove a garbage truck, a dump truck, a cement truck. I mean, when I used to do the Borgata in Atlantic City,
Yeah.
they booked you there 7 nights. I drove a school bus in Staten Island. Now, I live in New Jersey, okay? I'm in Manalapan, which is central Old Bridge. It's central Jersey.
Right.
You know, they say there's no central Jersey. So I would go to the shows, come home, sleep for 4 hours, drive to Staten Island, do my run, back to New Jersey, back to the Borgata, 7 nights.
Wow.
And by the end of the week, my wife wonders why I'm miserable, you know? So eventually 2013 was when it was the perfect storm. I've been doing these videos in addition to my stand-up, and one of them went viral. It was called Bread and Milk.
Oh yeah.
That's when when somebody sees a snowflake, they start panicking. They gotta get the bread and milk. And I just put the camera. I saw a snowflake. I put the phone on, and I gotta get the bread and milk. I gotta get the bread and milk. I walked from my house to the car, 26 seconds. That got me more recognition than at that time of 30 years of stand-up. And I saw the following. That weekend, it went viral. I'm watching my computer. It was like ding, 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 the views. Then my friend said, you got to monetize it. This way you could make money from it.
Right.
So I started doing these videos. Now I have over 8,000 videos. Wow. I get an income from YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, plus my stand-up. And I met a manager who told me you don't have to drive the bus anymore. Then Kevin James calls me out of nowhere. We started years ago in Long Island.
Yeah. And
he says, Vic, I saw this character you do, one of your videos called Tony Gaga. It's like an over the top. You got a guy, I got a guy. You got to go to, one of those. A stupid character. That's what got me in Mall Cop 2. So between that, my manager, the videos, now I'm doing comedy full time since 2013. My career's going like this. The pandemic comes along, and now I'm at a standstill.
Right.
I started doing those virtual comedy shows on the computer. It was horrible. Comics need a live audience. You know, I'm doing a show here in my office. My wife is yelling at me, quiet, I'm trying to sleep. And you're looking at all these people my age. They don't know how to do the YouTube, the Zoom link. Who's looking? It looks like the messed up Brady Bunch. Everybody's looking at it. Nobody can hear each other. Who's with their glasses? Fast forward, the pandemic, is winding down. Like you said before, some kind of normalcy. I'm going back. The ticket sales aren't what they used to be, but a lot of guys, they couldn't survive the pandemic. You know how many comics had to get jobs? I'm lucky, man. I'm pretty blessed. Right. I'm selling out theaters once again. I'm going on tour with this other young kid, Eric D'Alessandro. He's another guy with the smart. He does the videos. Mm-hmm. See, venues want to sell tickets. They want to fill the seats.
Right.
You could be the funniest guy if you're not selling tickets. Then there's guys who do the videos, but they have no stand-up.
Right.
And people see them from their video. They go to watch them. This guy's not funny, but he's funny on the. It's a chess game. Yeah. But I pulled through. I'm starting to travel again now. I'm going to Florida, Texas, Seattle, Chicago, Ohio. I'm pretty blessed. It could have been a hell of a lot worse.
Well, and the biggest thing through that all is that, you were persistent, and you didn't say, oh, well, you know what am I going to do now? Right. Because the pandemic hit, but you kept working at it, just like hundreds of thousands of other Americans, millions of Americans tried to do during that rough time. This is what I love doing. I'm not going to let this stop me. And you improvised, right? You try to do whatever you can.
Yes,
make that possible.
I purposely didn't renew my CDL. I said, I am not going back driving a truck. Yeah. No way. And then I did a video called Message to the Government. That went viral. I did a whole rant about what is $1,200 going to do for the American people. That went viral. It's up to 34 million views just on Facebook because it resonated with Americans.
Right.
And like I said before, when I put on the news and I watch what's going on, I say to myself, who the hell am I to complain?
Yeah. And it's so true. You look at the world now and you look at everything that's going on, day in and day out, we're just trying to be happy, and we want to do the right thing. And we just want to live a great American life. That's all we want to do. And like you said, with everything that's going on in the world right now and the last couple of years, some people feel like that's hard to do. right?
Yeah.
But you just got to keep your head up and keep going. And, God has a plan for everyone. It's, and you go with what works. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And,
And the
you're going to
American
get there.
dream, as crazy as it might sound, and people may not believe it, the American dream is still alive. I mean, here I am 8 years ago when I was driving a school bus, the company went on strike. I was burning wood in a fire in sub-zero temperatures, wondering if my job is going to come back.
Wow.
Now I'm headlining the Hard Rock Casino. It's just, I'm living proof. I really am.
Yeah. And I mean, before we go to break, Vic, I mean, and this is a lot we'll talk about when we get back from the break, but I mean, when you back in 2012, 2013, and you look at now in 2022, are you like, wow, like, I mean, look where I'm at. I mean, and not in a way where, you're bragging or anything like that, but I'm just
Right.
saying, like, just like to yourself, are you like, wow, like, look where I'm at today. Look what I'm doing. Look where I
Yep.
made it.
Yep.
You
I
know?
mean, there are a lot of comics that would kill to be in my shoes.
Yeah.
And I know that. I realize that. And I never take a day for granted. Never.
Right. Well, God bless you, Vic. And when we get back from the break, we're going to talk more about, your life in comedy, your YouTube channel, and the videos you post, and different kind of characters you have. And we're also going to talk about your show coming up at the Hard Rock next month, October 14th and 15th, Friday and Saturday nights. And Vic will tell you a little bit about how to get tickets for that and timing and all that. And if you're interested in going to the show, which you guys better be interested in going to the show, he'll have all that information for you and how to reach him on social media. So do not go anywhere. Stay right here. And we'll be back on the Big Man's Report live from Hard Rock Studios on News Talk 1400 and 92.3 WOND. I am your host, Blake Roselle. Do not go anywhere. We'll be right back.
How am I doing?
Doing good.
All right. You're doing great.
I appreciate that, Vic. But no, this is awesome. I mean, thanks for coming on. Like I said, this is like a pre-record, obviously. So this will be.
Yeah. Once you said next month, I wish my manager would have told me that, because I was about to go, what are you talking about? It's October.
Well, it was funny. On my drive here, I said, I wish there was a way to tell him that I hope he knows this is a pre-record. He doesn't think this is live currently. But yeah.
And I'm not cursing either.
No, yeah. I wish I had satellite radio one day and my podcast one day, so we could say whatever. But
where are you right now? Where's your studio?
I'm down in Linwood, New Jersey. So I am about 10 minutes from Atlantic City. I live in Margate, though, which is on the island.
Oh, okay.
And you drive 5-10 minutes south from Atlantic City, and
you ever go to Chef Bola?
Good spot. Yeah.
My favorite Italian restaurant in the world.
Really?
They're big fans of mine. My manager calls. I said, Russ, we're never going to get, you go to their website, you can't make reservations. So my manager says, yeah, this, for what it's worth, I'm Russell Best. I'm Vic Dibitetto's manager. He's working at that time, the Borgata.
Right.
You get tickets. 5 minutes later, they call him back. Are you kidding me? We're big fans of his. It was so great. I love that place.
Oh, it's terrific. The food's unbelievable.
Oh.
It's funny. I'm a tall guy, Vic. So when I'm in the
you're going to base.
low.
Yeah.
So I got to watch my head when I walk in there.
Yeah.
There's another spot in town, Cafe 2825. Have you heard of that one? Have you been to that one?
No.
That's like a newer Italian restaurant out of a couple years now, but apparently the food there is tremendous. I have
Where
not
is
yet
that?
been. This one is off of Atlantic Avenue.
Okay.
So if you're familiar with Tony's Baltimore Grill, where the Tropicana is, it's like across the street from there.
Okay.
Whereas Chef Fol was like tucked away in that little house.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's nice down here. It's about 50 minutes from Philly. Not far from New York, about 2 hours from New York.
Yep.
A little under, so it's not bad.
Now, even Lou Galdo, I think, has a place in Margate.
Yeah, Lou Galdo's a place in Margate. Well, when you're in town, if you have time, I would love to bring you into to Jerry's place. Now, I believe, so it's right, it's in Margate, so it's not too far from Atlantic City. But I got to see if what that weekend brings, to see if he'll be doing the live entertainment. That way you can come in.
All right.
But it's a nice spot.
What is it? A restaurant?
No, he has like it's like a bar / nightclub, and he plays all the old records. He still has the vinyls, Vic, the vinyl records from the 50s.
Does he keep them in the milk crates?
Yes, he does. And he plays all the disco, all the Harold Melvin's Blue Notes, the Tramps. And you should see this place on a Friday, Saturday night. you in the summertime, July, August, holiday weekends, you can barely get in the door. It's a lot of fun. Be really cool, if you ever had time to come down and make like a guest appearance. Everyone would love it, because it's down here in South Philly, you have a huge following.
Oh,
When
I
I
know
post
that.
this, I mean, you know that when I
I know
post
that.
this,
They always,
interview,
I just did the live casino, the new
yeah,
casino. We sold it out.
great spot.
Me and Eric. It's called the Funny How Tour.
Okay, yeah, live's really. I like live. I've been there a couple
Yeah,
times. Nice
very
spot
nice. The
right by the
rooms.
stadiums.
They gave me a suite. Oh my God, beautiful.
Yeah, yeah,
Nah, Philly never lets me down,
yeah.
even though I'm a Giants fan.
Well, we won't talk about that because South Philly bleeds the Eagles, but
Well, no,
hopefully,
well, they loved it because I do this. One of the characters I do, I pretend I'm the coach of the
right.
Giants, and I rip them a new asshole. And I even give credit to the Eagles sometimes, and Philly fans love it.
Yeah, and we'll talk. And I've seen all your skits. I mean, when you do that, when you act as the Giants coach, and then the Tony Gaga, all that stuff is hilarious. You have me in tears. And you do an unbelievable. We'll talk about this too when we go back on the Godfather, Marlon Brando. I just been watching those recently, and the Rocky one was the Mick on the car. That was hilarious. Funny story.
That's another reason why I love Philly, home of Rocky.
Funny story though, Vic. Before we go back on about Rocky, my dad's family, his first cousins, okay, were in the Rockies. So his uncle Joe Letizia, South Philly, born and raised, was best friends with Rocky and Rocky's family, and his daughter Jody. I don't know if you know the name Letizia in South Philly. She played Little Marie in the original Rocky.
Oh,
yeah. Hey, Rocky,
screw
F
you,
creepo. Yeah, that was my dad's
wow.
cousin. So
that's awesome.
I'm gonna be bringing her on in a couple weeks, but she's terrific. She's funny.
Didn't she play the older Marie in Rocky Balboa?
Yes, I believe so. She did. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she did. I don't want anyone to quote me on that, but this is off the record. So
I love hearing stuff like that.
Yeah, so neat. But you ready to go back on? We can go back whenever. I love to chat with you. I just wish
I'm ready.
Wish we had 3-4 hours we could chat. Okay, so I'll introduce us back here, and again, this can all be edited, so I can introduce us back in. Okay. All right. You ready?
Yep.
Okay. And welcome back here to the Big Man's Report on News Talk 1400 and 92.3 WOND. I am your host, Blake Roselle, and before I forget to mention, we are live here from Hard Rock Studios in Linwood. Before I introduce you back to my guests, I would like to take a quick minute to thank my sponsors who make this show possible. Castle Supermarket of Margate for all of your grocery items, baked goods. Check out the deli and all the in-store selections. And the best in Margate, New Jersey. Check out Castle Supermarket. Stop in and say hello to my dear friend Howard and tell him I sent you. Versus Italian Bakery for all your Italian dishes, deli sandwiches, Italian pastries, and bakery. Stop in one of Versus 3 locations in Turnersville, Brigantine, and Margate. Always the best is the best, fresh daily. Versus Bakery is also available for catering events, birthday parties, and special occasions. Stop in and see my man Ralph. Tell him I sent you. Blake Gymnastics Training Academy in South Jersey All Sports of Northfield. For all gymnastics classes, birthday parties, tumbling, and don't forget South Jersey All Sports, new 8,000 square foot all turf line facility, indoor and outdoor sports training. Stop by Mill Road and ask for Tracy, or look them up on Facebook for all their updates and their posts. Thomas C. Roselle, attorney at law. If you get in trouble, contact the law office of Thomas C. Roselle for all your criminal and municipal court matters. You can find Tom on Facebook and send him a private message. And now let's get back here to the program on the Big Man's Report. I am your host, Blake Roselle, on News Talk 1400 and 92.3 WOND. So thank you guys all for tuning in this second half of the hour. If you were here for the first half of the hour, you were able to hear or stint here on comedy and about the comedy world. And if you're just coming back in and you were not on the first half of the hour, I have a very special guest here tonight on the interview. I would like to welcome you again, Vic, for coming on the program, Mr. Vic Dibitetto, ladies and gentlemen.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
So for the first half of the hour, Vic, we've had some good conversation here about the comedy world and, the feel good stuff and what everybody loves to hear. And also, just how during the pandemic, I mean, comedy wasn't easy, but you did your best to try to make that work in the best way possible. We talked a little bit about your family life, and how you got into comedy. So, for our viewers and our listeners that are maybe just tuning in, what's one thing that you would say to them of, your background, of how you got into comedy, and what might, what should they know about you and getting into your comedy life?
Well, like I said before, I was the class clown. What they should know about me, I'm very relatable. I'm not clever like George Carlin, but I say what people are thinking. A lot of times people say, wow, I wish you say what I'm thinking. I'm very relatable. It doesn't help if you're Italian. Yeah, but you don't have to be Italian. I mean, I basically talk about myself, my wife, my kids. I mean, that's everybody. Everybody has family. And I don't pick on people. I'm not Don Rickles. It's all about me and my wife and kids. I'm loud. I'm loud. If you're sitting up front, cover yourself, because I spit a lot. This vein right here sometimes might explode because when I'm home, I can't say what I got to say because my wife rolls her eyes. So the stage is my outlet. Like Raging Bull, De Niro once said, give me a stage where his bull can rage. I'm the working man's comedian. That's I guess, you get high energy. I'm not a monologist. I don't stand there. Do you ever notice? I'm very high energy, and I tell it like it is. And if you're offended, then stay home. What can I tell you? I'm old school. I come from a different time. I grew up with George Carlin, Richard Pryor, Sam Kinison, Dice Clay. Even before that, Abbott and Costello, the Three Stooges. Yep. I'm just a regular guy, man. If you see me in the street, I'm very approachable. There's no ego here. The years that I put in, I should have an ego, but right. I'm just a regular guy. I do meet and greets after my shows, and I tell people whenever you get tickets for any venue, always make sure there's a meet and greet option, because it's impossible to do a meet and greet for 1,500 people.
Oh yeah.
It's a liability. It would take forever. I love getting recognized, just not when I'm at a restaurant, when I'm about to put a fork in my mouth.
Right.
But other than that.
And that's like you said, that, I mean, with comedy, I mean, there's a time and place for your comedy. And then again, like you said before, you have your family life, and, where you're eating dinner, or, you kind of want to just, sit back and relax a little bit too. That goes into as well. If
I was the way I was on stage for 24 hours, I'd have a heart attack or an aneurysm. Some people who don't know me, I don't even tell them what I do, because I'm very quiet off stage, See, that's the videos. That's where the videos come in. That's a whole different dimension, but it's weird, because now what's been going on, I'm getting such a following. When I'm on stage, sometimes people yell out bits from the videos.
Yeah.
I mean, taglines, and it throws me off, but they don't mean any harm, but I'm getting heckled by my own material. It's hilarious. Right. It really is.
Well, and those of you that are listening, obviously a lot of this area, the Tri-State area, and you're known all over, Vic, even around the country and around the world. I mean, you type in Vic Dibitetto on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, whatever you want to call it. I mean, you got your videos, you got everything that you've worked on right there. And I mean, again, the following that you were able to build over the years has been astronomical. It's really remarkable what you've been able to do.
I mean, look, let's face it. I don't think I would sell out theaters in Boise, Idaho, but the whole East Coast is a lock. I mean, right. From Florida to New England, I mean, sold out. I sell out shows all over the East Coast, Chicago. I mean, like you said before, fans all over. I get messages from South Africa, Germany, Australia. It's crazy.
It's amazing.
That's the beauty of the social media.
Yeah.
It's like the old yin and yang, the social media,
In this day and age, and you might be able to say, like, the social media platform is unbelievable. I mean, years ago, when you're doing comedy or you're doing anything, you're acting or, whatever it may be, You were lucky to break into the business the way you did maybe back 30, 40 years ago, right? And you made a name for yourself throughout connections, appearing in movies or whatever you may be. But something as simple as you said earlier, and you made a great point, putting up a funny video on YouTube, and before you know it, it's going viral over the weekend. And now, years later, you're doing headlines at all these major casinos and venues all over the country, and it's like, this is what social media can do for someone nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the outreach of just putting a video on a computer.
Now, the old day, you talk about the old days. If you did Johnny Carson, okay?
Yeah. Yep.
And he called you to the couch, you were made. You were a made man in comedy.
Right.
Today, you could do Jimmy Kimmel, you could do Fallon, you could do Steve Colbert. It means nothing. It doesn't do anything. But when you sat on the couch with Carson, that was it, Yeah. Now it's the social media. But unfortunately, with Facebook and even Instagram, and they're messing with the algorithms. They literally cut my numbers. They're limiting my audience now, which I don't understand. They're supposed to be my partners, because when they post a video and they show the ads, they make money.
Right.
Which I don't understand. I get a lot of people telling me, Vic, where have you been? I haven't seen. I'm like, I post every day.
Yeah.
So now when I tell my fans, they have to come to my page on their own. You're not going to get notified by Facebook. Facebook is a mess right now. Mm-hmm. They want you to pay. They want you to boost. There's a thing you can punch on, boost, and you got to pay.
Boost your post, yeah.
Yeah, it was. I don't get it. They're like a legalized mob, and I understand it's a private company, and you got to live by their rules. I get that.
Right.
But then they punish you. I got punished on a video because I had a glass of wine. I got punished because I had a lit cigar. Then they'll go back to a video I did 2 years ago. I mean, every day the rules change. Just let me know what's the rules today. It's crazy. They're making it so hard, But I'm managing. I'm still getting the views, not as many, but it's a mess. Look, like I said before, it could be a hell of a lot worse. Yeah.
Well, like I said, and even with all that censoring and monitoring, I mean, you're still putting content out there for your viewers. Right. You're reaching such a wide range audience, you know what I mean? And let's talk about some of the characters you have. I mean, you go on your Facebook, your YouTube and your Facebook and your Instagram, and now you do daily videos, right? You post up with different videos with different characters.
Yes. And each platform, it's like a chess game.
Yeah.
Facebook, you got to post certain things on Facebook, which might not work on YouTube. YouTube, you got to post something different than Instagram. It's what my manager is going through. Me and him are going. It's like a chess game, and this is every day. There's certain times you should post. There's certain minutes. Right. There's certain. It's a whole. And let me tell you, it's stressful, man. I mean, it's to come up with the different content every day. It's really stressful. Sometimes I amaze myself. I'll be honest with you.
It's so cool. I mean, it's so cool to see all the videos, all the different characters that you do. I mean, because is this just stuff that you're thinking about? Like, you're at home, you're like, now the characters you have established, you just make a new video with that character, right?
Right.
But to come up with like the characters and then what new video you want to do. And it's almost, and what I personally noticed, what I think is so hilarious of what you do is, and this maybe comes to being Italian, because I can attest a little bit to this too, is you act out in your comedy what the average person is thinking every day, but just doesn't say it.
That's what I said before. That's
yes.
That's why people relate. There are some days where my mind is like spinning a million ideas, and there are some days I just stare out the window and I got nothing. It's crazy. There are some videos that me and my manager, we go back and forth, we write it. Mm-hmm. Then there are videos that spur of the moment, like bread and milk. I just picked up the camera and there's no formula. It's crazy. But when you see it, the comments, oh my God, this is classic. This is the best one yet. That's the best. That's the payoff. I do these characters. I pretend I'm the manager of the Yankees in a locker room. I pretend I'm the coach of the Giants. I pretend I'm Tony Gaga. It's over the top caricature of the Italian Goomba. You got to.
Yeah.
I do this old man, this veteran guy with the pants pulled up, the oxygen. The retired guy in Florida doesn't say a word.
Right.
That inspired me from watching Red Skelton as a kid, The Silent Spot. Jackie Gleason, he used to do The Poor Soul.
Yeah.
This is all reflected in my videos. Who I was,
Mm-hmm.
These were my influences. Jackie Gleason,
Honeymooners, right?
Oh,
Throwback.
Honeymooners was the greatest sitcom.
Great.
The Honeymooners was the blueprint for a sitcom. It was just, you don't see that anymore. And people go to me, how come you don't have a sitcom? Personally, I don't think Hollywood gets me,
Mm-hmm.
I watch some of this garbage on TV. I go to Netflix, I go to Hulu, I go to YouTube. There's other than the Big Bang Theory, I like that, but nothing grabs me anymore, I rather binge watch Ozark.
Oh, it's a great show.
Oh.
My dad and my brother, they're into that show like no tomorrow. I mean,
that reminds me, I'm in a mini series called Gravesend.
I did see that, Vic. I was going to ask you about that.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm jumping.
You can go ahead and tell now. I would love for you to explain that to our audience about
Gravesend.
the series.
This is ironic. Here's the irony in this. Gravesend is a section of Brooklyn. You've heard of Bensonhurst, right?
Yes.
Ralph Cramden lived there.
Yep.
But Gravesend was a section of Bensonhurst, and that's where I grew up. And there's this producer, director, and actor, William DeMeo. As a matter of fact, he was in with John Travolta and Gotti. He played Sammy the Bull.
Mm-hmm.
And he came to one of my shows. He fell in love with me. We became friends. And he put me in this thing. Season 1 is on now on Amazon Prime. But I'm going to be in season 2. I'm in 3 episodes. I'm in a scene with Armand Asante, Dice Clay, William Forsythe, Chaz Palminteri's in it. A couple of guys from the Sopranos. This thing, I don't know when it's going to air because they're still filming, but this thing has not because I'm in it and I can see the difference, the money they put into season 2 other than season 1.
Right.
This could possibly be the next Sopranos, and I'm keeping my fingers. I just hope I don't get whacked because I want to be in more episodes.
Right. Well, I did see that, and I'm glad you explained that to our listeners because that is pretty cool. Some big time names over time are in that. I mean, you look at the famous Bronx Tale, Mr. Chaz Palminteri, and all
his
the
daughter's in it. His daughter, Fran Drescher.
Yeah,
the list is amazing. And
the Armand Asante movie, Gotti, the one he did in '96, is
the best.
Phenomenal,
unbelievable,
phenomenal.
The Travolta one, Even the Many Saints of Newark, I wasn't
too big on that one.
Yeah,
it was kind of all over. I didn't really follow it.
Yes,
but you look at the Sopranos series with David Chase, and my favorite show. I mean, you could. I mean, people laugh at me. Still, I watch it over and over and over, Vic. I still watch it over and over.
So intense. That half hour or hour, whatever it was, went by like that. It was like, what do you mean it's over?
Yeah,
it was just acting. Gandolfini. I did a show with those guys called Comedy You Can't Refuse. We did in Atlantic City at the resorts. Right. It was like a variety show. Steve Sharippa, Michael Imperioli, they were the hosts. They would go up and do bits. Mm-hmm. And Johnny Sachs he sang.
Vincent Curatola.
Yeah. And I was the comedian of the show. And I hung out with all of them. James Gandolfini, the nicest guy. I met a lot of celebrities. He was like the most down to earth, just a sweetheart.
I heard, it's a shame. I heard he was an unbelievable guy, and everyone that knew him and, had the pleasure of being his colleague and working with him said that, beautiful that what he was able to do.
This was out the Brownstone in Patterson.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Tony Sirico loves me.
Paulie Walnuts.
He called me kid.
He is a character. Oh my, he is.
We roasted them. We roasted them at the Brownstone. I ripped them apart. It was hilarious. I got a lot of great memories, man. I mean, I'm thankful. Yeah. I got a good career so far,
Yeah, I mean, and again, hats off to you. I mean, what you've been able to do, and all this, like, we're talking about all these stars and the people that were in these great movies and TV shows, series, and stuff. But it all comes with, if you look, your hard work and dedication to where you got yourself, and all this kind of is just an addition to that.
Right.
I mean, I mean, you meet these people along the way, and these big names. You're like, oh my God, James Gandolfini, and Chaz Palminteri, and then you're standing in the same room with them. It's got to be a great feeling.
Speaking of Chaz, listen to this story. I went to see, I forgot the play. Me and my wife went to Manhattan to see a play. I forgot which one. Anyway, after that, we went to Chaz Palminteri's restaurant.
Right.
And he happened to be there with his family. He's sitting down. I walk in with my wife. They're looking at me. There's his son. Chaz goes, hey, Vic, my son's a big fan. His son wanted a picture with, I said, you want a picture with me? Your father is Chaz Palminteri. It was just, I mean, forget it. I couldn't even sleep that night. It's just, it's a good feeling. It never gets old, let me tell you.
And you seem, and just from talking with you and knowing you, I mean, you're very humble and about what you do. I mean, you're funny, what your comedy is what you do. You may make jokes about this, make jokes about that, but when you come down to it as a person, you're very down to earth guy. And I mean, that's the way to be,
I am, it comes back to you when you're nice,
Yeah.
I like when I go on Facebook, it's impossible to answer everybody. There's not enough
Right.
time in the day, but I do read all the comments. I do like them. That's another thing. Facebook, they limit you to how many people you could like. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just liking them. It's a mess. That's why I say when you come to my shows, always ask if there's a meet and greet option. And another thing, like for the Hard Rock, go to their website. Don't go to these scams. I have some fans tell me, why did I pay triple the price? You got to go to the Hard Rock's website.
Right.
You can't go to Bobby's cheapo tickets. You're gonna get screwed.
Yeah.
It's people, it's so hard. I tried to keep in touch with my fans and let them know where I'm going to be. I have flyers with all my dates. I have a website.
Mhm.
And sure enough, I'll get, when are you going to be in Boston at the Wilbur Theater? And I got to tell them, I was there last night. It was advertised for months. I don't help me to help you.
Yeah.
It's just,
right. So, I mean,
see how frustrated I get because I want to help people, but they don't listen.
Yeah. And you got, again,
like when I want to see, if I want to go see Bruce Springsteen, I go to his website. I don't ask Bruce, hey, Bruce, when are you going to be at the Stone Pony? I go to his website. It's all there.
And you have all that up there on your website, vicdibitetto.net, Vic.
That's it.
There it is. So I want to talk a little bit about some of your characters that you do, and then we're going to get into obviously, the details about the Hard Rock Casino when you'll be performing there. And again, you can reiterate the tickets and where we can get them and all that stuff. So what would you say? I mean, you do a lot of characters on your, on your page and your daily, day in and day out. What are some of your favorite characters you enjoy? Not so much what the audience enjoys, because I'm sure we all enjoy all of them, but what is your favorite?
It has to be the ticked off Vics.
Oh, they're great. I
mean, everybody relates to that. Because there's so many things that tick people off, and I vent, and it's a good way to let out steam. I go on it's easy too. I put the camera on my dashboard. I go on because if I did these in my house, my wife will kill me. I'm spitting all over the place. I'm screaming. The cat's going to freak out. The car has the perfect acoustics. I put the camera there. I write it.
Yeah.
People think, is it off the cuff? Sometimes it's off the cuff, but I like when I write it first, because then I put it on the teleprompter app, and I read it off the teleprompter. But it looks like I'm, some of them I do off the cuff, but I guess Ticked Off Vic, hands down, is my favorite. Absolutely. And the impressions.
Right. And
the Scarface, Rocky, Don Corleone.
Yeah.
But that takes a lot of preparation. The makeup, I got to cut the camera. Got to reshoot. It's Ticked Off Vic is easy, and it's me.
Yeah, it's coming from the heart, and what's on your mind every day, and what other people are thinking too. But like you said, they may not be saying it, but they think it, and you're that outlet for us to laugh because you're saying it.
Right.
And personally, your Ticked Off Vic, I always thought was was hysterical.
There you go.
Because you just say something. I'm like, you know what? He's right. I mean, I thought the same thing. I love what he's saying because it drives me insane. And just to hear somebody else says, I know I'm not nuts. You know?
You know, and I love some of the comments. You know, I love the people who don't know who I am. I kind of like that. It humbles me.
Right.
This guy's, who is this angry, screaming Italian guy? Why must he curse? But you know what? He's making a point.
Yeah.
There it is.
And I
don't like the cursing, change the channel.
Uh-huh.
It's the old Howard Stern thing. You know,
Yeah.
Howard Stern, he had a lot of haters, but he had more haters would watch him to see what he would say next.
That's true.
That's why I only block and delete when they really get stupid, but I don't, you know, because, hey, they're helping me out. Good, keep watching. Good, watch my videos. You're helping me, stupid.
Right. You know, there's a saying out there too. If you don't have any haters or people that dislike what you're doing something wrong. You've
Exactly.
heard it, right?
Exactly.
Whenever you do, you're going to have somebody that doesn't agree with what you're saying.
You know, you're a success when you have haters.
Yeah.
And Frank Sinatra, revenge is the best. Success is the best revenge.
That's so, yeah. He said it. He said it best. And that's so true. I mean, you got to, listen, it's not that you dislike or you hate your haters or you want to talk badly. It's just, okay, you don't agree with what I'm doing.
Exactly. I don't expect everybody to like me. I'm okay with that. It's okay. There's another saying, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all.
Right.
I would never tell another comic, oh, you're not funny. You're a hack. I would just, okay, next.
Yeah. And I'm sure throughout your successful career, you've gotten tons of those, and you kind of just say, yeah, all right, next one.
One day, like in a matter of one day, I've been called a legend. I said, somebody said I saved them from killing themselves. Then the next page, you suck. You're a hack. It's amazing. But look, 99. The thing with comedians is, let's say we'll have a full house, 1,500 people, and we get a standing ovation, except one guy who's sitting. It's that one guy who's sitting that'll bother us. Right. It's crazy. It's human nature.
Yeah, no, it's so true. I mean, you know, it's, again, like we said before, success is the best revenge. Like you said, Frank Sinatra. And, you know, if you don't have people that hate what you're doing something. If you don't have haters, you're doing something wrong.
Exactly.
You know, but, and again, too, that for some people, I mean, that could also at times be discouraging, but then again, you learn to just, like you said, block it out. You don't have any hard feelings against anyone. You just keep doing what you're doing.
That's all you can do. That's the beauty of coming where we come from. You grew up South Philly, Brooklyn, the shit I've been through, the stuff I've been through in my life, this is just a pimple on my butt, these idiots. But I can understand, you know, how about these young 20-something-year-olds, these kids that are getting bullied on the social media and they wind up killing themselves? It's horrible. It's sad. You know, it really is. Yeah. The thing with before the social media, none of these I call them mutants. Yep. Who lived under a rock, never had a voice. Now they do. Yeah. That's the problem, you know, and the cyberbullying. I always tell parents, you got to watch what your kids are doing on the internet. Yeah, as much as the internet can be a positive thing for, like we talked about it, you know, during our show tonight, you know, about how you can become noticed and so many you can reach thousands of people within the seconds. Also, the flip side of that too, and you look at this as more of a concern, you know, like mental health and all that stuff, which you kind of mentioned briefly. You know, that's also plays into role too, and especially having young kids nowadays, you got to be extra careful because something can be taken so out of context. You got to really watch what your kids are doing because it could be dangerous to this internet world too. Like you said, the cyberbullying, and you know, it's crazy. It's you know, I used to play outside till it got dark. You know, I played stickball, stoop ball. It's a different. Right. It's a different. The world we grew up in it's no more. It's a whole different world now. Mm-hmm. It's different. But it's crazy. We still need to laugh. I think. Yeah. You know, we need to laugh now more than ever. Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Vic. It's the way it's got to be, you know, to keep people happy and to keep this thing going around, right? It's so good when I hear a full house laughing. It's just there's nothing like hearing a full room laughing. Yeah. Well, talking about that, let's get into this last couple minutes of the program here.
let's talk about where you're going to be next month. So October 14th and 15th, you're going to be performing at the Hard Rock Casino down here in Atlantic City. So you want to tell our audience a little bit about that, where they can go for tickets, how they can find you on social media if they're not familiar, which I'm sure a lot of my listeners already know who you are and they love you. But
Yes.
put that information out there so people who aren't informed can be informed.
Sure. Just go to the Hard Rock Casino. Don't go, or my website, vicdibitetto.net. Don't go to any other site because you're going to get ripped off. There's scalpers, there's scammers. It's a crazy world. Just go to the Hard Rock and always see if there's an option for the meet and greet. Because like I said before, it's impossible to have a meet and greet for, I don't know what it holds, like 1,500, 2,000 people. It's a liability. It will never get done. So, and when you come to the meet and greet, you could bring whatever you want. I'll sign anything you want. I'll take a picture with you. If you see me walking through the casino, feel free to pull me over for a picture. I don't care. I love that. It's a great venue. The Hard Rock, it's a great venue. I love it. It's one of my favorites. They do the right. I don't know who's opening for me yet. I have no idea, but it's an opening act. He goes on for like 20 minutes.
Right.
And I go on, I do like an hour, and I'm just make sure you go to the bathroom before you see me, because I'm no holds barred. I'm gonna be up there like in Rocky. I'm a 200-pound Italian tank. I'm gonna roll over you. I'm just gonna have a good time. Okay. Then after the show, you go out and gamble, go to dinner. If you see me at dinner, please don't bother me when I'm eating. That's all I ask. Because my wife gets annoyed. If I was alone, you could sit and have a drink with me. But when my wife was with me, it's time for me and my wife. All right. Yeah. Other than that, just come have a good time. Just enjoy yourself. And another thing, I gotta stress, shout outs. I did a TikTok Vic about shout out. I don't understand why people, when you go to a Broadway play, do you ask the actors to give you a shout out? When you go see Paul McCartney, do you ask Sebastian Maniscalco or Chris Rock? Just, if I give you a shout out, it's not fair to the other people.
Right.
I got this. I tell you, if I ever get FU money, here's my dream. I want to rent out a theater, 3,000 people, sell it out. And I want to go on stage and just do shout outs. An hour and a half of me, hey, Bobby and Kelly, thanks for coming. Susan and Steve, thanks. And just walk off the stage. That would suck, right? Sit back.
Yeah.
Have a cocktail. Relax. Let me entertain you. I'm on the Cameo app. If you find me in the Cameo app, I'll give you your own personal video. It's better than a stupid shout out.
Wow.
And then again, the meet and greet, better than a shout out. Gabish.
So you guys heard it there. Tune into Vic. And
I didn't forget where I came from. I'm not a big shot. I didn't forget the little people. I love the little people. I love that show on TLC. But just try to understand where I'm coming from. The shout outs are so annoying. Just enjoy the show.
Well, you heard it there from the man himself. October 14th and 15th, down at the Hard Rock in Atlantic City. You don't want to miss it. It's going to be a great show.
Hottest ticket in town.
Oh yeah. The advertisements have been phenomenal, and it's going to be a great show. I can't wait to see. I think it's going to be great, Vic, and I'm glad you're coming down this way.
And then also, me too. Also, after the show, what they normally do, we go to what's that big bar in the middle of the casino?
That's a lobby bar.
Yeah, they close off a section. There's security. If you see me there, no problem. Just give me a wave. I'll come out from behind the ropes, and I'll take a picture with you. No problem. Mi casa, su casa.
Well, Vic, again, thank you so much for coming on tonight. For this hour.
I
wish we had more. I wish we had more time.
I can't believe an hour went by.
Unbelievable.
Holy cow.
Well, I'm definitely going to have you on again, because again, we need a whole day to talk about all this stuff we want to get to.
Oh, I got a million stories I could tell you.
So thank you again to my special guest tonight, Mr. Vic Dibitetto. Catch him live at the Hard Rock, October 14th and 15th. You heard it here. Next week, don't forget to tune into my show. at 7 o'clock, live as always with the big man here, Blake Roselle, on News Talk 1400 and 92.3 WOND. I want you all to have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you guys all next week.
And thank you for saying my name right. Do you know how many interviews I do? And they call me the Benedetto, the potato.